Hello there! Guess what? Today, we shall learn about drug abuse. But before we talk about drug abuse, let's get to know what a drug is. We can define a drug in two ways. A drug is a substance that is used to treat or prevent an illness or a disease. It is usually given to sick people by a qualified doctor or a pharmacist. A drug can also be said to be a substance which, when taken into the body, has the ability to change the way the person's mind works. These kind of drugs make people feel excited or help them fight off pain. Usually, people who take them do so without a prescription by a doctor. They are also called hard drugs and are very bad and harmful to health. When we take drugs on our own without the advice of a qualified doctor or pharmacist, it is known as drug abuse. To abuse something means to use something in a wrong way or for the wrong reasons. So, drug abuse means to use drugs wrongly. Both prescribed drugs and hard drugs can be abused. Some of the ways people abuse drugs are using drugs in a wrong way by taking drugs without the advice of a qualified doctor, nurse, or pharmacist. Taking more or less of what the doctor has prescribed to take. Taking drugs for fun. Drug abuse is very bad and it can cause a lot of harm to our health. Now, let's look at some of the dangers of drug abuse. The dangers of drug abuse include the following. Number 1. Drug abuse can affect a person's brain and make the person become mentally unwell. Number 2. Drug abuse can lead to accidents. This can happen when a person takes too much drugs and drives. The person might become sleepy and have an accident. Number 3. It can make a student to drop out of school. If a student is taking bad drugs like cigarettes, alcohol, cocaine, or marijuana, such a student will not be serious with his or her studies again, and the student might drop out of school as a result of that. Number 4. Drug abuse can lead to addiction. This means that the person depends on drugs at all times. And number 5. Drug abuse can lead to death. It can destroy a person's health and also kill the person. The dangers of drug abuse are many. So, to prevent all these bad things from happening to us, we must stay away from drug abuse. How can we do that? Come along and let's see how we can prevent drug abuse. The following are some of the things we can do to avoid drug abuse. Number 1. Seek advice from doctors, nurses, or pharmacists before taking any drug. Number 2. Avoid bad friends who abuse drugs. Number 3. Avoid buying medicines from people hawking it on the streets. Number 4. Avoid taking expired drugs. Drug abuse is very dangerous to our health, and we must avoid it if we want to be healthy. If you see anyone using drugs wrongly, you can report the person to your parents or teachers at school. We've come to the end of this lesson. I hope you had a nice time learning. Now, let's take a few test questions to test our knowledge on all we've learned so far. Test section. Question 1. Drug abuse means Option A. to use drugs in the right way. Option B. Using drugs according to the advice of a doctor. Option C. To use drugs in the wrong way. Option D. Buying drugs from the pharmacy. The correct answer is option C. Drug abuse means to use drugs in the wrong way. Question 2. We can prevent drug abuse by option A. Buying drugs from people hawking it. Option B. Taking too much drugs. Option C. Taking drugs without the advice of a doctor. Option D. Avoiding bad friends who abuse drugs. The correct answer is option D. We can prevent drug abuse by avoiding bad friends who abuse drugs. In this lesson, we learned that drug abuse means using drugs in the wrong way. Drug abuse can affect a person's brain and make the person mentally unwell. It can also make a student to drop out of school. And lastly, we can prevent drug abuse by taking drugs exactly the way it is prescribed by a doctor and avoiding bad friends who abuse drugs. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.